Inside the trial that shocked America, Scott Peterson versus Chris Watts. Imagine two men, both seemingly perfect husbands, standing in packed courtrooms as the world watches their every move. Scott Peterson and Chris Watts, charming, devoted, family men until their lives unraveled, exposing them as cold-blooded killers. Their trials weren't just legal battles. They were raw, emotional spectacles that peeled back the masks of monsters. From tearful witnesses to cunning legal strategies, these cases gripped America, revealing the chilling mindsets of men who betrayed their families. Welcome to Dark Truths, true crime stories, where we dive deep into the cases that haunt us. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and settle in for a gripping, hour-long journey through the courtroom drama, key witnesses, and prosecution versus defense strategies that unmask Scott Peterson and Chris Watts. What does it take to expose a killer's true nature in court? Let's find out. The trials that captivated a nation. In 2004, Modesto, California, became the epicenter of Scott Peterson's trial for the murders of his wife, Laci, 27, and unborn son, Connor. Dubbed America's Trial by a 2004 CNN report, it drew thousands to the courthouse, with Dateline and Court TV broadcasting every twist of millions. 14 years later, in 2018, Frederick, Colorado, hosted Chris Watts' trial for killing his pregnant wife, Shanann, 34, and daughters Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3. The 2020 American Murder Netflix documentary fueled global fascination, with millions glued to the case's raw emotion and shocking confessions. Both trials exposed men hiding dark motives behind polished facade. Scott, the charming salesman; Chris, the quiet family man. Prosecutors painted them as calculated killers driven by affairs and financial pressures, while defenses scrambled to claim innocence or lesser crimes. Witnesses like mistresses, grieving families, and forensic experts delivered heart-wrenching testimony and hard evidence that shifted public perception from sympathy to horror. A 2022 Oxygen article highlights their shared psychology, narcissists escaping family life through family annihilation. These courtrooms became stages where lies crumbled, revealing betrayal's depth. The public was transfixed. Modesto's vigils for Laci, Frederick's #Justice for Shanann, each case a mirror of the other. The trials weren't just about verdicts. They were about unmasking monsters who hid in plain sight, challenging us to question trust and appearances. Media amplified every moment, from Nancy Grace's fiery commentary to American Murder's chilling footage, turning personal tragedies into national conversations. A 2023 Psychology Today article notes such cases expose the fragility of familial bonds when narcissism takes hold. These stories linger because they force us to confront uncomfortable truths about love, deception, and justice. Have you ever followed a trial that changed how you see someone? Can a courtroom truly reveal a killer's mind? What's the power of justice under a national spotlight? How does a nation's gaze shape a verdict? Scott's prosecution, building a case on lies. The prosecution in Scott Peterson's 2004 trial, led by Rick DeStaso, faced a challenge. No murder weapon or direct evidence tied Scott to Laci's death. Instead, they wove a tapestry of circumstantial clues to argue Scott planned her murder to escape his life, per a 2004 Court TV report. They dismantled his fishing alibi, noting Laci and Connor's bodies washed up near Berkeley Marina, where Scott claimed to be on December 24, 2002. Amber Frey's 29 hours of taped calls, played in court, caught Scott lying about being in Europe while attending Laci's vigils, per a 2003 San Francisco Chronicle. In one call, aired on 2020 and 2004, Scott said, "I'm in Paris, sipping wine," with no trace of grief, painting him as a carefree liar. Prosecutors highlighted financial motives, a $250,000 life insurance policy on Laci, and $23,000 in credit card debt, per 2004 testimony. Forensic evidence, like Laci's hair and Scott's boat pliers, tied him to the crime, per 2004 forensic report. 5 homemade concrete anchors, one missing, suggested premeditation, per trial exhibits. DeStaso's closing argument, broadcast on NBC in 2004, called Scott a liar who killed for freedom with Amber. A 2023 Psychology Today article suggests such lies reflect a narcissist's need for control, believing they can outsmart everyone. Media like Nancy Grace amplified the narrative, with pundits noting Scott's calm demeanor sealed his fate. Sharon Rocha's testimony, sobbing as she described Scott's detachment, humanized Laci, swaying jurors. Per 2004 Modesto B. Social media wasn't big then, but forums like WebSuits buzzed, calling Scott a sociopath. The prosecution strategy stacking lies, motives, and evidence built an airtight case despite no smoking gun. Was this approach enough to convict without direct proof? Can a web of lies convict someone without a weapon? Have you seen a prosecutor dismantle a facade with small clues? What's the strength of circumstantial evidence in a murder trial? How does a killer's own words betray him in court? Chris's prosecution, a confession under pressure. Chris Watts' 2018 trial in Weld County was swift, driven by his confession after failing a polygraph. Per a 2018 TBI report, prosecutor Michael Rourke didn't need to prove guilt. Chris pleaded guilty to murdering Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and their unborn child, but focused on motive, escaping family life for his mistress, Nichol Kessinger. Text to Nichol, per a 2019 Denver Post, showed Chris's desperation. "I want a life with you, no complications," he wrote on July 10th, 2018. Another text, July 24th, read, "This family isn't working. I need to be free." GPS data placed Chris at Survey 319, the oil site where he disposed of the bodies, at 5:46 a.m. on August 13th, per a 2018 CNN report, contradicting his claim that Shanann and the girls left home. Rourke's sentencing speech, aired on CBS Colorado in 2018, called Chris a monster who planned it all. Autopsies, per trial records, detailed the brutality. Shanann strangled, Bella and Celeste smothered, their small bodies stuffed into oil tanks. The horror shocked the courtroom, with jurors visibly shaken. Per a 2018 People report, Rourke used forensic evidence, like oil residue on the girls' bodies, to emphasize Chris's cold calculation. Per 2018 testimony, a 2022 Criminology Today article notes prosecutors use emotional evidence to highlight a killer's lack of remorse. Social media, like hashtag #JusticeForShanann on Twitter, praised Rourke's victim-focused approach, amplifying Shanann's vibrant life through her Facebook videos. The Rzuceks victim impact statements per CNN in 2018 broke hearts, with Frank Rzuceks Sr. sobbing, "You took my world." Did Chris's confession make the prosecution's job too easy, or did the evidence reveal his true mindset? Can a confession still shock a courtroom with its brutality? Have you seen evidence reveal a killer's cold heart? What's the power of a prosecutor's narrative in a guilty plea? How does a victim's story sway justice? Scott's defense, denying the crime. Scott Peterson's defense, led by high-profile attorney Mark Geragos, insisted on his innocence throughout the 2004 trial. Geragos argued no direct evidence, like a murder weapon or eyewitness linked Scott to Laci's death. Per a 2004 Court TV report, he challenged the fishing alibi scrutiny, claiming Scott's 14-foot game fisher boat was seaworthy, contradicting marine expert Dr. Michael McGowan's testimony that it was unfit for San Francisco Bay. Geragos suggested Laci was abducted, pointing to a burglary across the street from the Petersons' home. Per a 2003 Modesto B, he called witnesses who claimed to see Laci walking her dog later than Scott's timeline, creating doubt, though their accounts were inconsistent per trial records. Geragos downplayed Amber Frey's tapes as embarrassing but not criminal, arguing in his 2004 closing that an affair didn't prove murder. He avoided putting Scott on the stand, a risky move that frustrated jurors. Per 2004 ABC News juror interview, we wanted to hear his side. Sharon Rocha wrote in for Laci, 2005, that Scott's silence felt like arrogance. Media like Nancy Grace called Geragos overconfident, slamming his dismissal of the boat evidence, like the missing concrete anchor. A 2023 Forensic Files analysis notes Scott's silence hurt the defense, as jurors craved emotional connection. Web sleuths forums debated Garagos' strategy, with users calling it a gamble that failed. The defense's denial clashed with mounting evidence, painting Scott as detached. Was Garagos' bold approach a fatal misstep? Can a defense win by denying all evidence? Have you seen a lawyer's gamble backfire in court? What's the risk of a silent defendant in a high-profile case? How does arrogance shape a trial's outcome? Chris's defense, a weak plea deal. Chris Watts' defense, led by John Walsh, had little room to maneuver after his August 15, 2018 confession. In November 2018, they secured a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, per a Denver Post report. Walsh argued Chris's initial lie that Shanann killed Bella and Celeste, prompting him to kill her in a rage, was a panic fabrication, not premeditation, per 2018 trial records. They leaned on his remorse, citing his quick confession after failing a polygraph, per CBS Colorado. But the defense struggled to humanize Chris, as his stoic demeanor during sentencing clashed with claims of regret. Per a 2018 CNN report, the plea deal avoided a full trial, sparing gruesome details, but couldn't soften the horror of the crime. Prosecutor Michael Rourke countered that the plea was self-serving, meant to dodge accountability, per sentencing transcripts. Judge Marcelo Kopkow rejected leniency, sentencing Chris to life without parole, calling the murders heinous, per CNN. A 2022 Vox article notes the plea reflected Chris's cowardice, avoiding a public trial where evidence like Nichol's text would dominate. Reddit users called the defense pathetic, with posts like, "He took the easy way out." Shanann's family, per a 2019 Dr. Phil interview, felt the plea robbed them of a full reckoning. Did the plea deal reveal Chris's true mindset, or was it a final dodge? Can a plea deal hide a killer's true nature? Have you seen a defense crumble under undeniable evidence? What's the cost of avoiding a full trial? How does a plea reflect a killer's guilt? Key witness, Amber Frey's testimony. Amber Frey, Scott's mistress, was a linchpin in his 2004 trial. A 27-year-old single mother and massage therapist, she met Scott in November 2002, believing he was a widower. When Laci vanished, Amber grew suspicious, seeing Scott on TV and contacted Modesto police. She agreed to record their calls, amassing 29 hours from December 31st, 2002 onward, per a 2003 San Francisco Chronicle. Played in court, the tapes caught Scott lying about being in Paris or at New Year's parties while attending Laci's vigils. In one call, aired on 2020 and 2004, he said, "I'm in Brussels, living it up," with no hint of grief, chilling listeners. Amber's testimony, tearful yet composed, painted Scott as a manipulator craving a new life, per a 2004 New York Times. Jurors were riveted, with one telling Dateline in 2004, "Those tapes showed he didn't care about Laci." Sharon Rocha wrote in for Laci, 2005, "Amber's voice exposes lies." Though some media painted her as the other woman, web sleuth forums praise her courage, with users posting, "She brought him down." A 2023 Psychology Today article suggests her testimony revealed Scott's narcissistic detachment, prioritizing his image over his family. The tapes shifted the trial's narrative, turning public sympathy to disgust. Did Amber's words sway the jury's verdict? Can a mistress's testimony convict a killer? Have you seen a witness change a trial's course with raw honesty? What's the power of a recorded lie in court? How does betrayal sound when it's played for a jury? Key witness, Nichol Kessinger's cooperation. Nichol Kessinger, Chris Watts' mistress, didn't testify but was pivotal in his 2018 case. A 30-year-old geologist at Anadarko Petroleum, she met Chris in June 2018, believing he was separated. Their affair escalated, romantic dinners, late-night texts, plans for a future. When Shanann and the girls vanished, Nichol grew suspicious and contacted police, providing 62 pages of text per a 2018 Oxygen report. Text from July 2018, read in court, showed Chris's desperation. "I want a life with you, no complications," he wrote, per 2019 Denver Post. Another, from July 24th, read, "This isn't working. I need to be free." Her 3-hour police interview and voluntary polygraph, per 2018 TBI report, exposed Chris's lies about his marriage being over. Nichol avoided public testimony, fearing backlash, per 2019 People article, but her text suggested Chris killed to escape his family. Reddit users speculated about her role, with some wrongly calling her complicit, despite her cooperation. A 2022 Criminology Today article notes digital evidence like text accelerates convictions in modern cases. The American Murder documentary highlighted her text, amplifying Chris's motive. Did Nichol's evidence seal his fate, or was his confession inevitable? Can a text message unravel a murderer's intent? Have you seen a lover's evidence shift a case's trajectory? What's the weight of a mistress's truth in a murder case? How do digital trails expose a killer's heart? Emotional testimony, Sharon Rocha's grief. Sharon Rocha, Laci's mother, delivered heart-wrenching testimony in Scott's 2004 trial. Sobbing, she described his attachment after Laci vanished, saying he never cried for her, not once. Per a 2004 Dateline interview, her victim impact statement, aired on ABC News, recounted Laci's excitement for Connor's birth and Scott's absence from searches, moving jurors to tears. Per 2004 Modesto B. Sharon's book for Laci, 2005, detailed her pain. "His silence broke my heart." Her testimony humanized Laci, painting her as a vibrant daughter and soon-to-be mother, making Scott's lies more monstrous. Web sleuths forums called Sharon the trial's heart, with users posting, "Her grief was unbearable." Media like Nancy Grace replayed her words, amplifying Scott's coldness. A 2023 Psychology Today article notes grieving families can sway juries by highlighting a killer's lack of empathy. Sharon's raw emotion contrasted Scott's stoic demeanor, shaping the trial's narrative. Could her pain have tipped the verdict? Have you seen a mother's grief change a courtroom? Can a family's voice reveal a killer's coldness? What's the power of emotional testimony in a murder trial? How does a victim's loved one drive justice? Emotional testimony, the Rzuceks pain. Shanann's family, the Rzuceks, brought raw emotion to Chris Watts' 2018 sentencing. Frank Rzuceks Sr. wept, saying, "You took my world," per a 2018 CNN report. Sandy Rzuceks' statement, aired on Dr. Phil in 2019, called Chris heartless for killing her daughter and granddaughters. Their victim impact statements, per sentencing transcripts, detailed losing Shanann's vibrant energy, Bella's shy smile, and Celeste's boundless joy, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. The American Murder documentary, 2020, used Shanann's Facebook videos to show her love, contrasting Chris's detachment. The Rzuceks grief, amplified by hashtag #JusticeForShanann on Twitter, fueled public outrage, with thousands sharing their statements. A 2022 Criminology Today article notes such testimony humanizes victims, exposing a killer's mindset. Sandy's words, "He didn't even look for them," hit hard, per a 2020 Vox analysis. Their pain swayed Judge Marcelo Kopkow, who called the crime unimaginable, per CNN. Did their sorrow expose Chris's true nature? Can a family's grief convict a killer in the court of public opinion? Have you seen pain fuel a demand for justice? What's the impact of a victim's loved ones in sentencing? How does love confront evil in court? Forensic evidence, Scott's boat. Forensic evidence was critical in Scott's 2004 trial. A single hair, matching Laci's DNA, was found in pliers on his boat, per a 2004 forensic report. 5 homemade concrete anchors, 1 missing, suggested Scott weighed Laci's body, per court TV testimony. Divers found matching concrete debris in San Francisco Bay, per a 2003 San Francisco Chronicle. The boat, A 14-foot game fisher showed no signs of fishing. No bait, no scales, per a 2003 Modesto B. Prosecutors argued premeditation. Tying the anchors to concrete bags in Scott's warehouse, per trial exhibits. Sharon Rocha told Dateline in 2004 that boat was his plan. Garagos called the hair circumstantial, but jurors disagreed. Per ABC News 2004, a 2023 Forensic Files analysis notes the anchor's significance in proving intent. The evidence painted Scott as calculated, turning his alibi into a trap. Was the boat the silent witness to his guilt? Can a single hair convict a killer? Have you seen objects speak louder than words in court? What's the clue in a missing anchor? How does forensic detail expose a murderer's plan? Forensic evidence. Chris's burial site. Chris's 2018 trial hinged on Survey 319, the Anadarko oil site where he had Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. His truck's GPS placed him there at 5:46 a.m. on August 13th. Per a 2019 TBI report, soil samples matched Shanann's shallow grave, and oil residue coated the girls' bodies. Per 2018 trial testimony, the tank's 8-inch hatches required deliberate effort, showing premeditation per CNN. Detective Dave Baumhover told the Denver Post in 2019, "Those tanks were a nightmare." Co-worker Anthony Rzuceks testified Chris's early arrival was odd, per CBS Colorado. The American Murder documentary, 2020, showed the site's desolation, amplifying the horror. A 2022 Forensic Science International article notes such evidence reveals calculated intent. Did the site expose Chris's cold mindset? Can a burial site reveal a killer's intent? Have you seen forensics unravel a lie? What's the horror of a calculated grave? How does a place betray a crime? Jury reactions. Scott's trial. Scott's 2004 jury was swayed by emotion and evidence. Juror Rochelle Nice told Dateline in 2004, Amber's tapes showed he didn't care. The bold evidence in Sharon's testimony tipped the scales, per ABC News. Deliberations were tense. 2 jurors were replaced for bias, per a 2004 New York Times. The guilty verdict on November 12, 2004, sparked cheers outside, per CNN. A 2023 Psychology Today article suggests jurors often rely on emotional cues when evidence is circumstantial. Web Sleuths users posted, "The jury saw through his lies." Media coverage, from Modesto B, noted jurors' disgust at Scott's demeanor. Did the jury see his true mindset? Can a jury sense a killer's lies without direct proof? Have you seen jurors swayed by emotion? What's the weight of their decision in a high-profile case? How does a verdict reflect the truth? Jury reactions. Chris's trial. Chris Watts' case had no jury due to his plea, but public reaction acted as one. Social media, per a 2020 Vox analysis, raged with hashtag Chris Watts Monster, reflecting juror-like judgment. The Rzuceks statements and forensic evidence shaped perceptions, per CBS Colorado 2018. Judge Kopkow's life sentence, per CNN, echoed public outrage. The American Murder documentary fueled Reddit debates, with users dissecting Chris's confession. A 2022 Criminology Today article notes public sentiment can mirror jury verdicts. Did the public judge Chris's soul as a jury would have? Can a nation judge a killer without a jury? Have you seen public outrage shape justice? What's the role of a community's verdict? How does society weigh a killer's guilt? Defense missteps. Scott's arrogance. Garagos' strategy, denying all guilt, backfired in Scott's trial. His dismissal of Amber's tapes as just an affair alienated jurors, per Court TV 2004. Scott's refusal to testify left jurors wanting answers, per a 2004 ABC News interview. His calm demeanor seemed arrogant, per Modesto B. Media like Nancy Grace called Garagos overconfident. A 2023 Forensic Files analysis suggests Scott's silence reflected narcissistic control. Web sleuths users posted, his arrogance convicted him. Did his demeanor doom his case? Can a defense's boldness sink a case? Have you seen silence convict a defendant? What's the cost of overconfidence in court? How does demeanor shape perception? Defense missteps. Chris's lies. Chris's defense collapsed after his confession. His initial lie, Shanann killed the girls, was debunked by autopsies per 2018 CNN report. Walsh's plea for leniency, citing remorse, clashed with Chris's stoic demeanor per CBS Colorado. The American Murder documentary showed his lies unraveling. Reddit called him a coward hiding behind a plea. A 2022 Vox article notes his lies reflected a lack of accountability. Did his deception expose his true mindset? Can a lie in court reveal deeper guilt? Have you seen a defense crumble under truth? What's the price of a failed story? How does a plea betray intent? Prosecution's triumph, Scott's conviction. DeStaso's strategy, stacking circumstantial evidence, won Scott's 2004 conviction. Amber's tapes, the boat evidence, and Sharon's testimony painted a calculated killer, per New York Times. The death penalty verdict, later commuted, shocked viewers, per CNN. CourtTV.com celebrated the conviction. A 2004 Modesto B report noted the prosecution's focus on Scott's lies swayed jurors. A 2023 Psychology Today article suggests emotional evidence sways when physical proof is limited. Did the prosecution unmask Scott's mind? Can a prosecutor's story convict without a weapon? Have you seen evidence triumph in court? What's the power of a courtroom win? How does strategy expose a killer? Prosecution's triumph, Chris's sentencing. Rourke's strategy emphasizing brutality ensured Chris's life sentence in 2018 per CNN. The Rzuceks statements and forensic evidence left no doubt per CBS Colorado. The American Murder documentary amplified the narrative. A 2022 Criminology Today article notes victim-focused prosecution sways judges. Social media hailed the sentence. Rourke's closing, calling Chris inhuman, resonated per sentencing transcripts. Did the prosecution expose Chris's cold heart? Can a sentence reflect a killer's truth? Have you seen justice serve in court? What's the impact of a prosecutor's victory? How does evidence shape a verdict? Media impact, Scott's trial. Scott's trial was a media circus, with Nancy Grace and Dateline dissecting every moment. Live coverage, per a 2004 CNN report, turned Scott into a villain. Sharon's interviews and Amber's tapes fueled outrage per Modesto B. Web sleuths debated his guilt, shaping perceptions. A 2004 New York Times article noted media amplified the prosecution's narrative. A 2023 Journalism University article suggests media framing influences juries. Did the media reveal Scott's mindset? Can media sway a trial's outcome? Have you seen coverage shape justice? What's the role of a news frenzy? How does publicity affect fairness? Media impact, Chris's trial. Chris's case exploded on social media, with hashtag Justice for Shanann trending per a 2020 Vox. The American Murder documentary used Shanann's videos, exposing Chris's lies. CBS Colorado replayed his confession per 2018 reports. Reddit analyzed his demeanor, calling him a fake. Media humanized the victims per People 2018. A 2022 Society Today article notes, social media accelerates public judgment. Did the media unmask Chris's true self? Can a documentary change how we see a killer? Have you seen social media drive justice? What's the power of a viral case? How does technology shape opinion? Trials that expose monsters. The trials of Scott, Peterson, and Chris, what tore apart their lives, revealing cold, calculated mindsets through witnesses, evidence, and legal strategies. From Amber and Nichol to the Rochas and Rzuceks, truth prevailed. Thanks for joining Dark Truths, True Crime Stories. Comment what moment shocked you most, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Until next time, keep seeking the truth behind the facade.